Hey guys, welcome to the CGM podcast. It is so great to be back with you today. I'm one of your hosts, Kurt Falis, and joining me as always, or nearly always, is Dr. Pastor.
Nearly always.
Yes. Michael Gossett.
Hey.
Mike, how are you today?
Great. Doing good.
It is summer. We are off and running. In fact, while we're recording this, it is VBS week here at Green Acres.
It's happening. Kids are everywhere. Lots of loud noises.
You're not kidding. This morning,
all kinds of stuff.
I was out greeting, saw you out there as well, and it was like a constant sea of parents dropping off kids,
It's good to see.
It was so cool. And like just the engagement that we get out of Vacation Bible School, right? That's the kind of the bookmark for me of, hey, summer has started, right? VBS is here.
It's like our summer kickoff deal here at Green Acres, and I love it every week. I got hit in the face twice by the huge...
in the big assembly, the big inflatable beach balls?
Yeah. So the kids thought that was funny. I did not particularly, but it was great.
You were just using your soccer skills and heading it, right?
Except I wasn't even paying attention. So it's just blindsiding
You're
me.
mid-conversation with someone.
I'm talking to adults and just blindsided with beach balls. It's perfect.
Well, one of the cool things about Vacation Bible School is that the kids come, they have a great time, right?
Absolutely.
But you can probably go through the room and start connecting with the parents of those kids, and those parents get to have conversations on the way home or at the dinner table about what happened at VBS that day.
Yeah.
Right? Like they get to talk about maybe the worship, maybe the fun big beach balls that get thrown around, the rec games, but hopefully they get to talk about too the Bible lessons and the truth that's shared during the week of Vacation Bible School.
That's really what we want to do. That's what's so incredible about summers at Green Acres, is because we want to do everything possible to strengthen discipleship in the home. Mm-hmm. We take the Shema, we take Deuteronomy 6 very seriously here at Green Acres. Deuteronomy 6, basically when, you're hearing this, okay, in everything that you do, you're to teach your kids the law. You're to teach your kids, your family, the word of the Lord. That's the call there. And we want to do that. We want to help strengthen that at home because, we really believe in partnering well with the family. Yeah. Because never is there going to be a time, and you're a student ministry guy, so, excuse me, there's never going to be a time where we can just shove our kids off and hopefully discipleship will take place somewhere else. But rather, how healthy would that be if we were both, the church and the home, were running after the same thing together, strengthening one another. The home is strengthening the church, and the church is strengthening the home. And that's why we love summers here at Green Acres, because we want to press into that. So many times, the summer is just another blur that just runs by so quickly. Well,
and it's like families, they get in this routine of like, hey, the school year, right? We have this structure, what Monday through Friday looks like. Saturdays, maybe some sports games or different things, and we go to church on Sunday. But once summer and kids are out from school, it's like, we can go on vacation. We can go spend 2 weeks at grandparents. And these are good things, right? You want your family to have that time to refresh and connect and make those memories. But what you're talking about, what if we could leverage these events and activities in the summer, not just for fun getaways, not just for fun experiences, but to pour into growing your family and growing your kids into the likeness of Jesus? So,
over and over again, this is the Connect, Grow, Multiply podcast. Mm-hmm. Over and over again, we talk about these three values, and we press into them like crazy during the summer because, we don't do events here at Green Acres. Like we don't do just fun camps. We don't do VBS for the sake of entertainment or anything like that. What we want to do is we want to create opportunity for students, for kids, for adults to connect with Jesus, to grow in his likeness, and to multiply for his kingdom. And that's what we want to see over and over and over again. And these events here at Green Acres, that's what they are. They're opportunities so that a kid may come to VBS and meet Jesus for the first time. A kid may go to one of the student camps that y'all are offering and meet Jesus for the first time. But for the person who has met Jesus and who has already been saved by God's grace, then we're going to strengthen that faith within them. Yeah. Right?
Well, and I think like even for me personally, I go back through my faith story. the role of the summer was so huge. Like I accepted Christ. It was in the spring. I was baptized on a Palm Sunday. And I can remember all those details, but I start going through all the events of my life and big spiritual jumps, right, in my walk with the Lord, or big.
Okay, so let me interrupt for a second. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
We say that every episode. Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. That we put each other on the spot? We got to stop saying that. Anyways, I'm going to put you on the spot.
But it's really true. And I think we say it because we want to be honest and authentic here. We're not like overly scripted here where we've planned every little detail out.
I have no script.
Yeah.
Like I don't even have my phone. I just threw it behind me so it wouldn't distract me.
Yeah. Okay. But so what are you putting me on the spot with?
Oh, now I don't remember. Oh, yeah, I do. All right. So tell me, we'll do two, okay? Because we'll be serious with it. Mm-hmm. Tell me, what is your worst student camp moment?
Are you asking me from my years as a student, or are you asking me from my years as an adult?
Correct.
Okay.
Either one. Whichever one is worse.
Okay. So
it's got to be rated G too. I mean, just keep it clean. But
yeah. Okay. So this is a funny one. This is when. So a little bit about me. I think we've shared this before, but I've been here around Green Acres. I'm on year 8 on staff in the role as middle school minister. But prior to that, when I was in college, I served here as a summer intern with our student ministry.
Yep.
And so my first summer camp.
How long were you an intern? For 2 summers?
3 summers.
3 summers.
3 summers. Three summers in college. I came back from Texas A&M, came up
so
here.
You've been connected to Green Acres for
since 2007.
11 years.
Mm-hmm. 2007, yeah.
I can't do the math.
That'd be 15 years now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
A long time.
What year are we in? All right, that's great. Keep going.
So that first summer, we're doing then it was called Breakaway Middle School Camp as well. And we're there. And staff member, you've got a lot of stuff on your plate. You're going all day. And one of the things you look forward to at the end of the day is you can come in and get a good shower and just rest, right? Maybe you're sleeping 4 or 5 hours, but you're going to come in.
I'm really nervous about where this is going.
Okay. So I come in and all the guys are asleep, right? And where I'm staying in a room with, there's 8th grade guys, they're sponsors, but there's a bed in the corner and that's the intern bed. So that's where I'm sleeping. I come in, I get my stuff, and I had left my toiletry, my shower bag in the bathroom in the area. And so I go in there and I've got my towel, my change of clothes, all that. And I pull out my shower bag, and I don't know about everyone else. Okay, so some guys, they're like, hey, I just, scrub what. I have to have a loofah. Like, I got to get a good foaming action.
I can definitely tell that you're a loofah guy.
Soft skin, guys. Soft skin.
I bruise like a peach.
My loofah was used. Like, it was wet. I hadn't taken a shower.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, what happened here? And I kind of squeeze, and there's soap coming out of it. I'm like, someone in this cabin used my loofah. And I'm like, what in the world? Maybe they were just joking with me or whatever. And truthfully, I didn't use it. I threw it in the trash. So
yeah, obviously.
I made do without a loofah, and my skin probably paid the consequences. But the next morning, we're at breakfast, and I go over to this table where the guys, they're sleeping in the cabin I'm in, and I'm like, hey, guys, I got a weird question. Did one of y'all get into my shower bag? And one of the guys was like, oh, yeah, I did. Didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, hey, I guess why did you do that?
Was your name on it?
Actually, my initials were. It was a graduation gift from high school. But I asked him, I'm like, well, why'd you do that? And he's like, well, I forgot my loofah at home, and I just needed to use one. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, I just needed to use it. I mean, right? We can just share that, right? He is completely serious. And I'm like, buddy, I like you. I met you a month ago, but if I could fast forward, I don't even share a loofah with my wife. That's not something, that's a personal thing. I'm not sharing a toothbrush. I'm not sharing a loofah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
For the sake of the story, I won't say the student's name, but we'll call him Joe. But I was like, Joe, we don't do that. And he's like, oh, my family, we just have one in the family bathroom. And I'm like,
okay.
Worst moments at camp for me.
Okay.
But I realized I had to educate a child on not sharing loofahs.
Okay. All right. So tell us that, that's pretty.
It's pretty unique.
No pun intended. That's pretty clean. Okay. But okay. So tell me this. Mm-hmm. This was probably when you were in student ministry. Mm-hmm. What was the most impactful moment for you at a student event or student camp?
Okay. So this would be summer 2004. 2003, summer 2003. Our student ministry.
You were 6?
I was, I was a sophomore, going to be a junior the summer after my sophomore year. And our student ministry, just how my church where I grew up, we all the students went to camp together, and we had one big mission trip that we went on. And that was from 7th grade through 12th grade.
Yeah.
Okay, so we went to New Orleans, and we partnered with a ministry there, Southern Baptist ministry called Rachel Sims. And we would go in and we would do VBS type stuff in the morning.
Sure.
We would do work projects. But me and my friends were all really into basketball. And there was a big city park right across the street, and we would go play ball. And at that point, I've been doing mission trips for a handful of years, right? I grew up in the church.
Right.
And I'd gone to New Orleans for a handful of years. And every time, like with Vacation Bible School, I was like, oh, I can help do the skit or, that kind of thing. But I was always kind of hands off when it came to intentional gospel conversations, right? That seemed something really daunting. And that summer, we were youth leader with me and my friends, like we're all playing basketball, and we would say, hey, let's go over to this park, let's play. And there's some really good ballers out on this court. Like we're going to play ball and we're going to have some fun with them. But that was the first moment.
Like my skill set or a little bit better? Or where are we at?
Truthfully, they're probably a little better because they dunked on me. You've never dunked on me.
Nope, never been able to do that.
Yeah. This was the first moment this summer and this trip where I had the opportunity to share the gospel with someone. And for my life at this point, like I had led maybe some Bible studies, some devotionals. I said some stories. I've told people, hey, this is what Jesus would want you to do, and they've asked me kind of things. But I'd never gone through the plan of salvation with someone. I'd never said, hey, do you want to meet Jesus?
Yeah.
And the third day of that trip, we're playing basketball, and I kind of rotate off the court, and I'm sitting there, and I start having a conversation with a guy. And that was the moment where I hate to just say I jumped a hurdle, but it made that next step in my faith where I could share who Jesus was with someone. I got over my I guess being scared of it.
Sure.
And that happened on a trip. And I can remember the excitement I had because I went straight to the youth leader that was out there playing basketball with me. I went and told my youth pastor, and some of my friends were like, guys, I did it. I finally got over that hurdle. And some of the other, my friends, they'd already been doing that for years.
Yeah.
And I just kind of was I can't get over that hurdle.
Yeah.
And I did it. And that was huge for me. And I think back like how that changed trajectory of how I talked about Jesus with my friends at school the next year, how my basketball team at school, how we talked about Jesus with our opponents and people we'd come across. It all started back on that student trip.
Yeah.
And it was layered in passive discipleship with people in my life to get me to the point saying, Kurt, you just got to do it. God is calling you to share who he is. Do it.
Man, that's huge. I have a similar story because, mine was not a student camp. I went to student camps. I went to VBS. I mean, I tell people all the time I was a good Southern Baptist boy. I was an RA, a Royal Ambassador.
Yeah, I know about Royal Ambassadors.
I went to RA camp.
See, I didn't because it was camping.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty hardcore in RAs. But I tell you, when I was in 10th grade, my student pastor at the time took me and one other guy through this faith training. Right? If anybody's familiar with faith, it's the way to evangelize and share your basically your testimony and to walk someone through the plan of salvation. And every single Tuesday night, I went out on visitation with my student pastor, with this other guy. And so before we'd go out, he'd make us say, all right, share the gospel with me. Yeah. And we just do it over and over again. And he would quiz us and we'd have to memorize the scripture. It was just a lot of fun. But then we go knocking on this door. And man, if it wasn't a guy that I knew from school, he opened the door and he was like so shocked and disappointed and frustrated that we were at his door. and I was like, oh no, this is not going to end well. And my student pastor, his name was Jeff. Jeff looks at the guy, and I mean, I remember him to this day. And he looks at him, he's like, hey, look, we just want to stop by, and Michael wanted to share something with you. Michael, tell him. And he just looks at me, and I was like, now? Like, I know this guy. Like, don't make me do it, like, with him. So it was just kind of a big deal. And man, I just walked through it because of his encouragement And it was from that day forward that, man, I just started sharing my faith
Sure.
with everybody, And but those are the things that my parents were teaching me at home also. Like my parents were pushing me in different areas of my walk with Jesus. And so that's what happens when you have two forces running parallel toward the same end, with church and home. Yeah. Those major steps in your life, I mean, they really do take place. And so what would be your encouragement to parents right now? I mean, what can we do as a church to help them in their discipleship at home?
So there is an element, right, where mom, dad, you sit at the dinner table, you sit in the car, you have spiritual conversations with your kids.
Look, they're with you all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You're the primary disciplers,
right?
That's the scriptural call. We already referenced that out of Deuteronomy 6. But I think there's something to be said for getting to these events, activities, getting to the experience. A few episodes back on the podcast earlier this year, we talked a little bit about your trip to Israel and the value of going to grow, and that seeing things and seeing the scriptures played out in real life in Israel and seeing what is written about, that changes your perspective as you come back and study God's word and go through. In a similar way, when we can get away and a student or a kid or a family can go on mission together, or get out of their comfort zone in that way, or go to camp and take a break from everything else that's going around in their world, right? All the time on video games, all the time running around with their friends or with their boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it is, the sports camps and the basketball practice, all that. Taking a break from that to spend intentional days at camp, at a time where they can be with Jesus, with very minimal other distractions. I think there's a huge value that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like when we talk to our students over across the street and we're saying, hey, we really want you to come join us at Breakaway this year, or we really want you to go to Engulfed. We want them to come experience Jesus, whether that's for the first time to connect with him and accept him, or it's to grow, right? But we also want them to experience those things with their friends, because there's value when you get away and you change up your rhythms. God's going to move.
So in our culture, I mean, you've mentioned this. Everything is moving so quickly, and then you finally come to that summer break and you think that you're going to be able to slow down for a second, but we all know that it speeds up. Yeah. And summer goes by rapidly. I mean, it just goes by so quickly. And if we're not careful, then we don't have that break to be intentional with our growth in Christ as a family, as individuals. And so I just want to challenge us, just as a church family. If you're not even connected to our church, I want to challenge you. Don't let the summer just pass by. Press in to what God is wanting to teach you this summer, and partner with whatever local church you're connected to. Partner with that church. If it's here at Green Acres, then how can we find out more about getting connected there?
Yeah, so we've got a big lineup of stuff on gabc.org, right, promoting the different activities that are coming up, from Breakaway Middle School Camp at the end of July to Engulfed High School Camp. But we've got family mission trips that are still have registrations open. There's different activities like that for your family to jump in and be purposeful about the summer. And you look at it, you're talking about the busyness. You have roughly around 13 weeks of your summer. Yeah. But when you really start chopping it up, if you have a teenager, specifically like 8th grade through 11th grade, those that are going to be into part of the high school the next year, their summers get really shrunk up if they're in extracurriculars, right? Because if you're in football or baseball or basketball, volleyball, they're going to have you doing summer workouts and summer practices. And so that's part of your family's time schedule is, all right, we got to get them here, because if they miss it, they may not be part of that varsity or the JV program they really want to be a part of in the fall semester. And then you also look at it, it's like, well, okay, we've got those things, but then our summer gets filled up, and these aren't bad things, but the Sky Ranches and the Pine Coves, these are great things that we see a lot of fruit in a student's life. Right. But they also have their own kind of place, because they're going to go grow and have great experiences and grow closer to Jesus. But there's also something to be said when they do those things with their church. All
right, so let's talk about that. Let's press into it, because we lead a family. What is it called? The Sky Ranch. What is that called?
Family camp. Family camp.
Good gracious! All right, so we lead a family camp every year. So like we believe in it and we love it. We support it. Yeah. We love Sky Ranch. We love Pine Cove. However, I do like the fact that we still, because one thing that we have seen is that churches have stopped offering summer camps to a degree because it is difficult to compete with the Pine Cove, the Sky
They do
Ridge.
such a good job.
Yeah, it's just phenomenal. I love them. But however, one of our purposes in offering these things during the summer is to strengthen your fall. Okay, so what we mean by that is we want to make godly connections with godly friends for our students and for our kids and for our families, so that when it comes to the fall and you're back in the rhythm, man, they have their people, they have their group, because I'm going to tell you, as powerful as the summers were for me as a student, as a kid, the Lord used small groups. The Lord used, if I can say this still, Sunday school.
Sunday school.
Okay, let me say that out loud. All right. God used Sunday school that really, really changed my life as a teenager. But man, I felt so connected because we were in the summers together. We got connected. And then when I came back, those relationships were just strengthened that kind of carried me through that school year.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that, because so many times we hear, man, I just can't get my student connected to a group. I can't get my student connected. Well, listen, send them to camp.
Yeah.
Send them to VBS. Send them to these mission trips that we have, because you're going to get connected.
We hear that so much in our circles across the street with the student ministry is, I just, my kid, they like it, but, they just don't feel like they know anybody. They don't feel like maybe they have very close friends. And how we try to structure our groups while we're at camp in particular. So taking Breakaway, for instance, I will try to
Breakaway is
our middle school camp.
Middle school camp.
Say you've got a sixth grade, like, man, they were here in sixth grade this year, but they really didn't feel like they had a lot of friends while they were at the church. It's kind of a battle every week to get them to get up and come on Sunday mornings. Get them to come to camp. We're going to put them into a group with the other sixth grade guys that'll be in their Connect group. We're going to try to get their Connect group leader to be their group leader while at camp. So what you see happen is maybe those relationships that were strained or hard to form on a Sunday morning for 1 hour a week, all of a sudden they're going to get 4 or 5 days together, 4 nights in a row, where they're going to not only pour into God's word, they're not only going to experience worship together, but they're going to go down water slides and zip lines, and they're going to have these fun memories that all of a sudden, come September and October, their group, they're referencing back, hey, did you remember when that happened?
Yeah.
How funny was that? How great was that? Then also, hey, do you remember when our camp pastor talked about this? Hey, do you remember that Bible study we had on the bleachers after worship, and we unpacked what it means to follow Jesus closely? Are we still doing that? And they have these conversations.
Well, we've seen it. I mean, we've seen the fruit of that. And let me just say one more thing. There are also their connection not only with peer-to-peer, but also with a godly adult who wants to pour into their lives, who wants to help them develop in the likeness of Christ. I think that's something that is often, just one of those things that we need to press into as well.
Well, and you talked about earlier this parallel run that we want to see parents and the church working together at the same goal to get a mature believer graduated, right? Like, and launched out into adulthood, right? We want to see both parties working together. Well, the home, right? Mom and dad, and then the church comes alongside with these godly adults to pour into them. And there's something, in my life, and you referenced your youth pastor, Jeff, who spurred you on to share your faith earlier in this episode. There's something to be said about the men and women who say, hey, I'm going to go to camp this summer and pour into a group of guys or a group of girls, because I know that's what my calling is from the Lord, not just for my family, but to help other students, to help other young people grow closer to Jesus. And there's conversations that happen with a student that maybe they're intimidated to have with their parents.
Yeah.
But that first conversation of maybe the secret sin or maybe a struggle or a question can happen with another godly adult. And as a parent, I would think you would welcome that and say, yes, like my kid, maybe they couldn't open up to me about it, but they can open up to another adult who's going to point them back to God's word and to Jesus and help get those things aligned. And I think there's just a win there. And then I also will say this, those other godly adults may be the parents coming to camp.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't replace in the discipleship process with your family. When a student gets to go to camp or on mission, they experience great things. And we talk about this at our parent meetings, like, hey, mom, dad, give your student maybe a night, because they're going to be tired, they're going to be worn out. Don't grill them with all the questions, but then maybe go to lunch the next day and ask, like, hey, what was your favorite thing, or what God show you? But the conversation is so much different when, let's say, dad goes with you on mission, or mom comes with you to camp, or those things, and then you both can talk, and you share with the other family, and you bounce off one another.
Yeah.
And then 3 years from then, when that student's at graduation, you get to not only celebrate the different those experiences, but you share hey, we went to camp together. Do you remember what God did that freshman year and how that changed your life?
Yeah.
You have those conversations, and there's something special there. And Michael, it just fires me up. Like, I get really excited at the thought of mom and dad coming and participating together. And the really cool thing, we've talked about camps here, but also family mission trips. And you had John on episode talking missions recently, and there is so much potential for what God wants to do in your family by going on mission together.
Yeah. And that's really the heartbeat of everything that we want to do. As we said earlier, that we want to help strengthen those relationships here at church, obviously, and at the home. And so here's what we also say, because look, camps can be expensive. I mean, mission trips can be expensive. I mean, there's always something to pay for, but that's never an issue here at Green Acres. And so, to the family out there that you're just thinking, man, we would love to participate in these things, I just don't know if we can do it. Well, listen, don't rule out not participating just because of that, because we have a generous church who wants to help and come alongside.
It amazes me every year, the people that come to us on staff and say, hey, I know that maybe I'm too old. I'm not at the point where I can go to camp anymore. Or my family's not able to go this year or participate this year, or this or that. Say, hey, but I want to write a check because I know there's students out there. I know there's kids out there that need to be a part of this. And just recently, we had a graduate, because of what he's doing next, he's unable to do anything this summer. Well, his dad came and said, hey, I want to sponsor so many kids to come to camp this summer because I know what it meant to my kid and my family.
Yeah, he saw the fruit.
Yeah, this matters. And so if that's you, if that's you listening, don't ever let money be the issue. Trust that there will be people that will help take care of it, and we've got the funds to help get those students, get those kids to camp. And then I'll also say this. I think with camp, we talk about it like, hey, come to camp, come be a part of these things. And our families here are like, yeah, that's great. But I would say if there's any student who is listening, right, or they're listening with their parents right now, one of the best things you can do for your friends at school is to also get them to camp.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to see, like, man, it's sometimes hard to talk about Jesus at school. Well, get those people you hang out with that maybe are far from Jesus, get them close to him and get them to camp.
Yeah, get a band of brothers and you're about to change the world.
Oh my gosh. Like, when you hear stories of students who get on fire with their friends on school campuses, rapid revival happens.
Yeah.
Like, students, there's something special that happens when students get on fire to share who Jesus is. There's a boldness, there's a courage, there's an authenticity about it. And other students want to have something to believe in.
Right.
And so I think about that and I'm like, hey, if you're here listening, you're like, man, I want to go to camp, but man, I don't know if my friends, ask them, invite them. And if money, like you said, we were just talking about, hey, if money's an issue, we want to help those people get to camp because we want to clear the obstacles so that someone can encounter Jesus.
That's what we want to do. We want to remove the obstacles so that people can connect with Jesus.
Absolutely.
But maybe you're listening and you're one of those persons that says, man, I can't go. I want to give. Listen, go to gabc.org. /give. You can designate that to student camps or VBS or to mission trips, whatever it is, and we can help you with that. But Kurt, thank you for your insight into this topic because we want to connect, grow, and multiply. We want to make sure that the next generation is doing the same thing.
Well, and like we said at the beginning, we don't want to waste the weeks of the summer. The 13 weeks of the summer, it's great to go on vacation. It's great to have some downtime from school and the activities.
Absolutely.
But how much greater is it to get on fire for Jesus and go change some school campuses and some family dynamics come September and October?
That's right. All right. Hey, this has been awesome. Kurt, thank you. If you have not subscribed, do it right now, okay? And we will send you a gift card to nowhere. But it's a place. If you just subscribe.
I'm sure Chick-fil-A will give you something because they love to support the church. But plug.
Don't do that.
But really, like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Share the episodes out there. We appreciate that. And if you have any questions about camps, any questions about how to get your family connected, what it means to get your family plugged into in partnership with the church in discipleship, hey, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about it. Hit our social media accounts. Can't wait to have more discussion soon.
We'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's episode and joining in on our conversation. If you liked what you heard or you want to know more about Green Acres, go check out our website at gabc.org or follow us on Instagram at gabc_Tyler. Have a great day.